Hey everybody, welcome. I'm Dr. Brian Opp, Family Chiropractic. We do these seminars once a month. We try to bring in new topics, especially things that people are having questions like, obviously the ketogenic diet, heart health, things like that. So next month we'll be on heart health myths. So we get a lot of patients that are on cholesterol medications, high blood pressure medications, and they want to look to get off them and what they've been told. And what it kind of fits in with this ketogenic diet, right? So not to eat fats. Now we're talking about, hey, we should eat more and more fat. So that I felt that was a good lead-in after this diet, actually, this ketogenic diet, to talk about heart health. So if you want to come in, it'll be the second Tuesday or second Thursday of May, because we're going to do that. So that's what we're trying to do, though. So yeah, if you want to sign up for that, we'll just sign up out there. So all right, who's heard of the ketogenic diet? Right, a lot of people have a lot of myths, a lot of misconceptions on that. So we'll talk a few of those things on what the ketogenic diet really is and what are the things people have misconceptions about. Who should be on a ketogenic diet, who isn't. This is more of a, we're not going to get into some of the more specific things like targeted ketosis or targeted ketogenic diets, athletic ketogenic diets. So there are subsets within this. This is more for your general public. Okay, somebody comes in, wants to lose weight, we have autoimmune disease, heart disease, things like that. We can put them on there, just start changing their diet. This is what we're going to talk about. Okay, so Mythbusters. Some of the things. If I can't lose weight, I'm not trying hard enough. Shame on me, right? Hear that a lot. People are in the gym, they're on the hamster wheel, right? On the treadmill all the time. So that's actually going against us. We've talked a lot about that in other seminars. Another myth. I don't really want to live that long because I see what old age does to you. This breaks my heart. I hear it almost every day in the clinic. Shouldn't we used to want to live to 100 now? Now we see our parents, right? And they got dementia, Alzheimer's, all-time high. They're living with chronic diseases. It's killing me. I'm like, no, I don't want to live like that. So we want to live to 60 now, it seems like. We should all retire at 40, right? I should be retired by now. So that really kills me. It runs in my family. One of the misconceptions that we've been told is family history is a big thing. Well, it's more having to do with where we grew up, what our family ate, and we continue to eat those same things and live in those same areas. So it's more about the environment, what they call epigenetics, rather than anything to do with our genes. That is a whole other rabbit hole. So 90% of our issues are actually what we do to ourselves. 10% we can somewhat blame on our genes, but it's typically not what we did to ourselves as well. The scale is the only measuring tool that counts, right? Nope. Right? Muscle mass, water inside and outside of the cell. There's so many different ways to measure how our health is, more than just the scale. I have to eat every 3 to 4 hours or I get hungry. Okay? We grew up on carbs. Carbs burn fast. We get hangry, right? So we'll talk about that. Pain is just a deficiency of ibuprofen. Okay? So when I'm achy, I just have to take ibuprofen and that'll make it all feel better. We don't have deficiencies of ibuprofen that I know of. Oh, I can't eat fat. I need to stick to a diet low in fat. I have high cholesterol and heart disease. My doctor said so. Okay? So that's the one that will really hammer home next talk. That's not true, because the ketogenic diet is working really well for those people and actually getting their lipid levels pretty decently. So how did we get into this mess currently in our society? We have a 70% obesity rate. Diabetes costs us $50 billion a year. Digestive issues, $123 billion a year. Heart disease still number one. Cancer's climbing, right? So we're having all these chronic illnesses. So how did we get in there? Two huge misconceptions. Number one. Oh, they gave me a Let's use that one. So all calories operate the same in the body. Okay? So calorie in, calorie out, right? That's what we've been told. Count calories, do all this, we'll start to lose weight, starve ourselves, right? Okay. So when we start thinking about it, do you think 50 calories in a fruit is the same as 50 calories from nuts? You think that's the same? How it's utilized in your body, right? Okay. because the nuts are full of fat, right? Fruit's full of sugar, so your body utilizes it differently. You eat some fruit, you're going to normally be hungry in 3 to 4 hours, right? You're going to eat some nuts, it's going to sustain you. Why is that? Fat burns like this, okay? Sugar does this, okay? You wake up throughout the night. I can't sleep, things like that. It's because you're doing this at night still. Especially if you eat, gotta have gotta have our bread, gotta have our pastas, things like that. So at dinners, we're eating spaghetti. It's all night. It's just roller coastering us up and down. So that's that. Not calories in, calories out. So what basically we've said is if we just eat carbs and protein, we would lose weight, right? So that's what that would mean. So we would be the healthiest people in the world. But we were told to eat that sugar wasn't bad for us, and that fat was bad for us back in the 70s. We can thank partly the University of Minnesota, yay, for doing part of that study. But one study done on 30 men from Crete basically changed the health aspect for the next 50 years. So they saw that they ate a diet, the Mediterranean diet, and they only looked at saturated fat, and they had a higher rate, they had a lower rate of a heart disease, and then they looked at us and said, oh, why do we have this? Well, you're not eating that diet. Well, yeah, so the Mediterranean diet is always the #1 diet there. You got to look at all the polyphenols they're eating, right? You got to eat all the seafood, all the other fats they're getting. So they were isolating saturated fat as one sub-thing in that whole diet and blaming saturated fat for being the problem. So if you want to learn more on that whole thing, here's a really good book, okay? Very informative, goes through the whole thing, all the studies that they did, all the kind of cover-up that really happened as, one group was saying, nope, we need to eat saturated fat, and the other one wasn't. All the American Heart Association got in there, the Diabetic Association, the Dietitians of America all got involved. All started with Crisco. Yay! Flies won't land in Crisco, you know that? So I don't think we should cook with it. So here we go. So it's not calories in, calories out. Fat calories. So when you eat fat, you get 9 calories of energy. Okay, so that basic calories is how much energy you get from it. When you eat carb, you get 4.5. What are you going to burn through quicker? Right? So quick hitting, 4.5, gone in a heartbeat. 9 takes longer and harder to burn, so your body feels fuller longer. So there's where that comes into it. The other one, we talked about this. Okay, so this is that big study that saturated fat actually caused heart disease. So being healthy means avoiding fat. I mean, I grew up on a household full of Diet Coke, type 1 diabetic, eating carbs. His blood sugar would go all over the place, and we just totally lived that way. So go ahead.
Can I just see what you wrote?
Yep. So saturated fat causes heart disease. I should probably stand on this side. This gave us that fat-free era, right? The Frankenfoods, you can say. Margarine. So nobody thinks that margarine is good, and hopefully any more trans fats then came about when we figured out trans fats actually kill you earlier than any other fat. Vegetable oils was the other big one. So that also in that book, they talk about the vegetable oil industry and how that came about. So all those canola oils that we thought we were supposed to be eating, all that safflower, all the corn oils, right? So that's why we see cornfields all over the place. Soybean oil, right? It's all being used in all of our foods. McDonald's uses it. All fast foods fry up their fries there. When they used to be using saturated fat. Lard. Lard was the standard. And that was okay back then. All right, and we talked about the next seminar, going to be on heart disease. All right, so back in 1977, when the U.S. government released its first dietary guidelines to drastically cut fat is when that started. Ansel Keys was the main author. Looked at populations, we talked about in Crete, the 30 men compared to the U.S. Didn't look at the other nutrients. So now today, in 1970, we had a 45.6% obesity rate. 1 in 6 were obese back then. 5.2 million people with diabetes. Now we have 22.3 million. 1 in 6 have mental illness. 65% of your brain is fat. So if you go low fat, you have a low IQ and low mental health. Okay. Cancer rates are going up. 1 in 2 females, 1 in 3 males. Vegetable oils, it's rancid oil. You're basically giving yourself poison. So, heart disease will hit 40% in 10 years. Okay, this can change. Pretty simple. Right? All right, ketogenic diet history. So most people don't really know unless they've really studied or looked into it, the history of the ketogenic diet. So most people think, oh, it's just another fad diet, right? Actually started in 1924. Okay. Anybody want to take a guess who started the diet? Who came up with it? And why it was for? Anybody have a guess? Everybody shy? All right, 1924, Mayo Clinic. Yay, Minnesota did something good. All right. Epilepsy. They found if they restricted carbs in those kids with epilepsy, their seizures would go down dramatically. So they actually started putting kids on these ketogenic diets, and it worked really, really well. Showed drastic reductions. So a lot of people think we're super far removed from our ancestors. We're really not. So we're not that far from our monkey, the Neanderthal as well. So what did we used to do? We kill the animal, right? So all the people on the vegan diets, right? They're like, oh, we can just eat vegetables. No, we killed an animal. We ate everything on it, right? Including we sucked out the marrow from the bone. So they had to eat all that food to stay alive. And that was a lot of fat, a lot of organ meat, right? So we've gotten away from that where we don't even eat the animal. We're saying, oh, we shouldn't eat steak, we shouldn't eat chicken, we shouldn't eat all these animals. Bad for the environment, it's not good for us, conventionally grown versus organic, all that stuff. So we'll talk some more about that. But yeah, they ate it all. So why did we stop doing that? Before agriculture, we relied on animal protein as our main source. That book is really interesting about the animal protein. The use of butter, how lard was used in everyday cooking, all that stuff. Now we got this big vitamin D deficiency, and you're starting to see vitamin A deficiency, glasses, night blindness, things like that. We're having trouble seeing at night driving because of butter use. We used to eat over 100 pounds of butter a year, and now we eat like 10. So it's going up. It used to be like 3. Now it's going up in years because people are getting away from the margarine. So now we're eating like 10 because we're mainly cooking with it, right? So that has vitamin A and vitamin D in it, and a little bit of vitamin K. So there's where you got a huge amount of those vitamins from these animal fats that we're just not eating now. So let's get to the nuts and bolts of it all, what everybody's kind of wanting to hear about. There it is. All right. So with ketogenic diet, it's a very low carb consumption, right? Everybody kind of understand that. So when we're talking proteins, carbs, and fats, we're basically eliminating carbs to a very low amount. Depending on what our goal is for that person, it's either 25 or 50 grams. Okay? This is 25 is for weight loss. Okay? If your goal is weight loss, this is just for straight ketosis. Okay? So if you're starting to count your carbs and your calories, right? Or not your calories, your carbs. So when you start looking over, one of the big ones, coffee creamer, right? You start looking at the head, you got a teaspoon. Had a conversation this morning with a patient. It's like, we'll measure it out, see how much it is. Well, yeah, if you're trying to lose weight and you just put 15 grams of carbs and sugar into your coffee, you got 10 to play with. Which one are you going to choose? You still got to get your vegetables in, right? Because part of the ketogenic diet is vegetables. That's where you get your carbs. So now you're going to be over your 25, and so you start shooting. You're going to stay in ketosis, but if your goal is for that weight loss, 25 is kind of the going amount. All right, moderate protein intake. So when you start counting, who does MyFitnessPal? Track their macros, right? Cool. So start tracking your protein intake compared to your fats. So 20% of your intake of calories should be protein. Okay? So that means 80%, 70 to 80% is fat. Right? And then you get your carbs from good sources. You don't get your coffee creamer, whole whipping cream, butter, coconut oil. Many of it's a whole fat. So we're looking to get more fat in there. So you just have to do substitutes for those fats. And at 20%, they actually find that you don't lose any muscle mass. A lot of athletes are doing this now, both power and endurance. And there's been 3 world record, U.S. records set on this diet by long distance runners. So I'm guessing the bodybuilders, power people will start doing this as well too. So we'll talk about energy. High fat consumption, so now we're going, this is protein. So that means 80% fat. Okay? So people are like, oh, it's a lot of fat, right? That's a lot of fat, okay? But so remember, there's only 2 reasons to eat, okay? When you break it down to it, the easiest thing, okay? One is for building, there's your protein, right? You're trying to build muscle, build tissue, repair, things like that, okay? And energy, okay? There's your fats and carbs. Which one provided us with more energy? Fats, okay? It's gonna burn longer, slower, so you're gonna stay fuller longer. So you're not gonna have to eat every 3 to 4 hours. You can eat your fat, and you're gonna be good for the next 4 to 5 hours, and that'll be good. And you're not gonna be hangry all that time, okay? So there's where the blood sugar starts to go. That's that hangry stuff that people get to it. And mood swings, all that stuff. All right, you have to start training the body to burn fat for fuel instead of sugar. This is basically what we're doing, right? So the body starts to utilize that. It runs out of the sugar that we have in our body, and then it starts burning fat. So great stuff. The main fuel, so let's talk about fuel, energy sources. Okay, fuel, ketones, okay? This is where people get scared, especially doctors, because what do they hear? Ketoacidosis, right? So type 1 diabetics, type 2 diabetics can go into ketoacidosis. So we're using ketones to get into ketosis. They have a scale, a ketosis scale. Ketosis is 1.5 to 3.5, and ketoacidosis is 15. Okay, it's nearly impossible. It's impossible to really get into ketoacidosis for any patient, really. Even diabetics are starting to use this. Type 1 diabetics for this. So they're able to drop down their need for insulin. They get their A1Cs under 5. You know, I get patients, hey, my A1C is 6.3. If your A1C is over 5.3, your brain is shrinking. So you will get dementia. You will get Alzheimer's. You will be dumb. Okay? So there's where the issue comes in. So when we start taking these, we really need to start making smart choices on that. So the main one is called beta-hydroxybutyrate. It's in a couple of the products that we have, ketone salts especially, so that's what we want to start using. When you first go into ketosis, you're going to start breathing off sugars like a diabetic does. You breathe off acetone, because you first start making acetone and this beta-hydroxybutyrate. Eventually that breathes off, and you will just use primarily beta-hydroxybutyrate for your ketone fuel. Burns really nice and good. It loves your brain. So guess who really should be on these? Concussion, Alzheimer's, dementia people, right? So it starts to feed all that stuff. You get 22% more energy on ketones than you would on sugars, so on carbs. So there's where you get your endurance athletes. So say one guy's eating the ketogenic diet, the other guy's eating, he carved before the race, and you're coming to the finish line, and he's got 22% more energy. Who's going to win that race? That guy with the extra kick, right? That's where it came from. He's able to make more energy more efficiently and burn better. Okay. It takes about 2 weeks to get into ketosis. Okay. So you have to. We'll talk about the kind of the build up there, but yeah, 2 weeks. So you need to be no carbs. So that means no fruits, no sugars, right? You've eliminated all your carbs, and the only carbs you're eating is from your vegetables. Okay, and you don't get carrots. That's the one vegetable you don't get. So it's high in sugar. So no carrots, because everybody likes to gorge themselves like, I can eat all these carrots all the way. So no carrots for the first 2 weeks. Then you can slowly get back. So what do we want? Green leafy vegetables. You can have as much green leafy vegetables as you possibly can. Okay. Side note on that. Anybody know what the Environmental Working Group is? They do an app called the Healthy Living app. You should download it on your phone. So they have a clean 15 and a dirty dozen. And spinach and strawberries were 1 and 2. Sorry. Strawberries was 1, spinach was 2 for the most amount of pesticides used. So buy organic, right? So, because that will ruin this and ruin you. So yeah, so make sure you're buying your spinach that's organic, buying your strawberries organic, okay? And you can go, they just came out with it, so you can print off that list. And, you know, it just tells you can buy these things conventionally. You should buy these organically. I just say, if you just buy everything organically, you're pretty safe. Let's just eliminate the chemicals. So during that first 2 weeks, anybody heard of the keto flu? Yep. So when you get into, there's a reason why you get the keto flu. When you eliminate carbs, carbs swell you. That's why the bodybuilders will eat some carbs before they go on stage, because then looks like they just got a pump, right? So they fill their muscles full of fluid. That's the bloat you feel every day. Okay? So as you don't eat those carbs, you eliminate that. So what do you eliminate? Salt. Okay? You also eliminate zinc, magnesium, potassium. So that gives you the flu, because the low magnesium gives you can give you jitters, give you heart palpitations. Not sleeping very well, so you get insomnia with low magnesium. And people just have this in general. They don't have to be on keto because we give people a lot of magnesium here. The salts and the zinc decrease your immune system. You feel like crap. You can be more susceptible to things. Thyroid hormone is needed for zinc as well too. And then that salt is the big one. That's what really drives you, because as you're getting rid of all that fluid, you're getting rid of a lot of that salt. So the ketone salts are essential if you're going to do the ketogenic diet. You need to do the salts to avoid the keto food. Otherwise, you will not like me, or I will laugh at you because you didn't listen to what I told you to do. Okay? So the keto flu is a very real thing. And if you don't experience it and you didn't take the salts, you're not in ketosis, because it's very hard not to not get the flu if you're powering through ketosis. Okay? The other thing would be fiber supplement, because, go ahead.
Sorry, I just want to verify, just because I have lupus.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of issues with my immune system.
Yeah.
So the salt will make sure that I do, like, because my immune system is already compromised.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm on 2 different types of immunosuppressants.
Yep. So yeah, the keto salt, it's ketone bodies to help you stay in ketosis. So it's used for a couple of things. But yeah, it has some sodium in there, and you obviously can salt. So get the organic. You know, there's Morton's iodized salt. Okay, stay away from that. It's not really salt anymore.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, right. So we gotta start making decisions on even salt now. It used to be salt. Now it's not.
Yeah, I usually do like Himalayan pink salt. Or
Yep.
something like
But
that.
you don't get the iodine, so especially you want to make sure you get some iodine in there as well too. So there's certain salts that you can get from like co-ops and organic salt, you know. So still has that iodine in there. So yeah, definitely. You know, there's other things we would do, but this is a great diet for autoimmune. We'll discuss why. After 2 weeks, you get to be metabolically flexible, so you can kind of hop in and out of ketosis pretty easily with the help of MCT oil and the salts, because the salts will kick you back. So say, you know, you've been doing ketosis for 3-4 weeks, and you're gonna go to a family reunion, and you slipped up and you had some carbs, or you had a beer or something like that, and that will throw you out of ketosis because you ate, you know, over 50 grams of carbs that day. What you can do is take a combination of the MCT oil and the ketogenic diet, because you're now flexible, because your body's used to burn the fats, it'll kick you back into ketosis just like that. So then you can go about your day. After 6 weeks, you can go a full week of, you know, like vacation, just kind of go off the reservation for a while, and you're good to go back there. 2 weeks, depends on how long you've been in ketosis. 3 weeks, yep, you're starting over. So if you stop doing it and go 3 weeks without it, you're going to be done. So you're going to start right over. So you go back to the no carbs, no fruit, stuff like that. Okay. Fiber is really important in the beginning sometimes too, because if I'm giving you a lot of fat, guess what happens? You go to the bathroom a lot, and it goes through you, because we're giving you a lot of fat, and a lot of your bodies, especially in Minnesota, gallbladders don't work very well around here. There's a lot of issues with gallbladders. A lot of people don't have them. So we'll talk about, can you do ketogenic diet without a gallbladder? Yes, you can. You just got to support different things. So usually we'll add digestive enzyme and fiber, so that you can bulk your stools, because it will get. Trust me. You put a tablespoon of coconut oil in your coffee, that will get you going in a hurry. So So, especially if you're a fast metabolizer of coffee. So those people that drink coffee and go to the bathroom right away, that would be a fast metabolizer. So putting MCT on there is a good way to do it, but making sure you get fiber in there as well. All right, so questions yet? Anybody questions? So the nuts and bolts, 80% fat, 20% protein, 25 grams of carbs if you're gonna lose weight, 50 grams of carbs or less if you wanna do ketosis, okay? All right, so let's talk about sugar burner versus fat burner. So really the reasons why we would wanna be in ketosis. So sugar burner. All right. So this is like throwing kindling on the fire, right? Burns really quick, keep throwing it on, keep throwing it on, keep throwing it on. This is your wheat, barley, rye, and gluten. So most people that come in here, just tell them stay away from gluten. So gluten, processed food, sugar are the biggest ones. I always say gluten, soy, corn, but if you say processed food, most of the processed food is corn and soy. So if you just say processed food, you get rid of corn and soy, right? Fat burner, that's throwing the big log on, right? And then you just watch it burn all night. So that's what we want. Ideally, we want to be like a hybrid car. We can switch in and out. Okay, I can put gas, use electric, gas, use electric, right? So I can eat some carbs, but then I can put myself back into ketosis and use fat as a fuel. That is what ideally, and more than likely, what our ancestors did. Right? So during the winter, we were eating fat. We weren't eating fruit, right? We didn't have any food around here. So then we ate fruit during the summer, so we were burning a little bit more sugar, and then we went back to fat, so we were metabolically flexible. So that's what we're trying to get to. You always see kind of the pendulum swing back and forth, and what we're more than likely going to see is some kind of middle ground eventually. So ketogenic is one, because when you go off the reservation so far one way, you probably have to go off the reservation so far the other way to get us back into the middle. So that's what we're really trying to do with ketogenic diet, and then getting that metabolic flexibility where you can, I can go with 60-40, with a 10 on the carbs. All right, so when you're a sugar burner, insulin resistance to type 2 diabetes, way, way up. You increase your fat storage. Your body can only handle about 60 grams of carbs before it starts spilling over into your liver. And then once it does that, you get that fatty liver. Have you ever heard of that? Fatty liver disease. Usually you see it in alcoholics because of all the alcohol sugar. Now I see it in 25, 26-year-olds that don't drink. That also then spills into storage, right? Where do we like to store things? Around our organs. Not really good for us. Sugar addiction. Sugar lights up your brain more than cocaine. So that's why it's so hard to kick, right? It's like, 3 days and you start going, I want some. Dopamine's getting low. You eat some and it makes you feel good. So there's where that comes off. Whenever we put somebody on a liver detox, day 3, I tell them, day 3, you're going to feel like crap. You're coming off sugar. You don't get any of that stuff, and they get a headache. You're an addict. You get the shakes. You don't feel good. All right, mood swings, poor cognitive function, Alzheimer's and dementia. So we talked about that when you're a sugar burner. So that's what they feed the people in the nursing homes. Great stuff, right? Let's just put them even farther into the hole. So you wonder how many people are going in that you could actually turn around to come back out and be like, hey, you can be a productive member of society now. That's awesome. But we're just, so Ensure is not a food, right? So when they're pouring Ensure down people at the hospital and at nursing homes, turn it around, let's see how much sugar in there. Their brains are shrinking. And how can you heal or possibly do anything on that? You get systemic inflammation on that too. Autoimmune disease when you're a sugar burner, right? Punches holes in your gut. You get leaky gut. You get things like PCOS. That's always a big one. PCOS. Anybody here heard of that? Polycystic ovarian syndrome? Yep. All right. That usually high insulin. They're usually pre-diabetic or diabetic, and their hormones are way out of whack. Okay. Increased triglycerides leading to heart disease. So when I see a blood lipid panel that has triglycerides, 130 and HDL at 40, I'm like, you're a diabetic. They just haven't told you, but you're heading that way because it should be the other way around, right? We should have high high HDL and lower triglycerides. The higher those go up, the more you're likely to. It's all having to do with sugar. They told you it was fat. It's not fat. elevated cortisol levels, which drives your belly fat, right? Remember there was like that cortisol commercial, like cortisol, belly fat. Well, they were swimming, right? The product wasn't very good, but so increased cholesterol and inflammation when you eat sugar. The cholesterol is actually an antioxidant. That's why it increases. It's trying to protect you. So when you're eating so when we ate all that sugar and people started having to go on statin drugs, it's like just get off the sugar and get off the statin drug. That's what it is. Increased free radical production. So when you burn sugar inside your cell to make energy, you have what's called mitochondria. That is your powerhouse. That is your power plant that produces the energy. Without it, you don't live. As a natural byproduct, it produces these oxidants. Everybody heard of antioxidants, right? You eat your berries, your vitamin C, vitamin E, right? So these oxidants are naturally being produced, but you have a system in place to be able to gobble them up and get rid of them. If you eat sugar, you overwhelm that system. There's too many of them. So you're actually aging and dying from the inside out. You just can't see it because you've got your skin for you. So when I have patients come in like, yep, you have high oxidative stress, you're aging prematurely, your hair is graying early, all that type of stuff. Yeah, you're producing too many oxidants. Yep. You're always hungry, or the lovely term hangry, right? You see a lot of women this way. So poor sleep habits, that we talked about that. So you're waking up through the night, so you can't sleep. Oh, try melatonin, try this. Well, try eating some fat before you go to bed. So it's like that. Low saturated fat leads to niacin. So that opens up your blood vessels. So that gets used more, which also then, because of that, you decrease your folate and vitamin K, which will lead to your heart disease. That's in that book. So that was an eye-opening thing. Like, oh, okay, so that makes even more sense why we should be eating more fat. Heart disease and all these vitamins are being depleted because it's the natural body's adaptation to keep you alive, right? It's always going to try to keep you alive. So it's going to utilize as much as it can. All right, so what happens when you are a fat burner? Probably a lot of good stuff, right? So everyone would agree that sugar is a toxin, right? Sugar is not good for us. We eat 150 pounds, 160 pounds of sugar per year. So, and this used to be the sugar, the fruit that we ate. Now we're getting a whole bunch of other things. So it's in hidden sugars, the sugars they're giving us now. All right, so as a fat burner, your free radical production goes down by 40%. So you don't age as quickly. Hey, you actually, there's those tests that give you your chronological age and your health age, and people are shocked when their health age is 20 years older than their chronological age. It's like, oh, look at your habits. That's how it goes. Fat's burned inside your energy stations, so inside your mitochondria, and they stay protected. So your fat actually is a protective agent. Just we talked about the cholesterol. Fat improves your mental alertness, and our brains are mostly fat. We talked about that, 60 to 65%. Improve sleep, so no sugar roller coaster. Decrease sugar cravings. So the funny thing is, once you get past those initials and you get past 2 weeks, everybody says, I don't crave sugar anymore. As soon as they put something sweet in their mouth, they're like, oh, I get sick. I get diarrhea if I eat something like that. So your body actually starts to help you out. It's almost like an allergy to it. So you get stabilized mood, no more hangry, right? You can survive a lot longer. Weight loss, decreased pain and inflammation. So who wouldn't want that, right? Everybody walking in the door's got pain and inflammation half the time. Gut health. We're not feeding the bad bugs when we feed sugar, right? So gluten, we're getting rid of all that stuff. So good gut health. So there's your leaky guts, your IBSs, your IBDs, your Crohn's, your diverticulitis, diverticulosis, all that stuff. You have more energy throughout the day. We wouldn't want that. That's one of the number one things. You get stressed and then you get fatigued, right? Everyone comes in. Tired, I don't know why. Check my thyroid. Yep, okay, we'll check your thyroid. Yep, it's low because you're not eating the right foods. Let's get you on a good diet. So you're providing yourself with those good things, and then support that thyroid. Slow cognitive decline. I always say I want to be the last person to get myself off the toilet. So I don't need anybody helping me to the bathroom or anything like that. When I go to bed last night, I just want to be done, right? I don't want to have to be hooked up or having somebody have to do anything for me. That's not how we should live. We need to change that. And like I said, when I hear that people don't want to live long, I'm like, okay, 100 used to be the number. Let's live to 100. Now we don't want to. So that's sad. And then it protects the liver. This diet actually, so this is not a reason to do these two things. It protects the liver from alcohol and Tylenol. So, two bad things for your liver, alcohol and Tylenol. So, yes, you should not then also go a ketogenic diet and think that you can drink all you want. So, okay. So, common questions. Any questions on any of that right now? So, fat burner, good, protecting our body, a lot of good things. All right. So, some of the common questions. Okay. How is this different from paleo? Everybody heard of the paleo diet? It was pretty popular it still is. CrossFit's huge on paleo diet. What do they call it? The ancestral diet. Well, ancestral diet, they eat the whole thing. So I guess if you're eating the whole thing, there's not a lot of liver in the paleo diet, it seems like. But it's usually higher carb, so they eat a ton more vegetables, things like that. Very high protein and very low fat. Okay. They eat a lot more starchy vegetables, so you're get all the sweet potatoes you want, right? Your blood sugar will spike even with that high consumption of protein, so that will drive blood sugar up and down as well too. So that's why the 20% works really well at burning and gives you like, oh, I gotta eat, I gotta get my protein shake in, all the time. Do I have to eat every 2 to 3 hours to continue to burn calories? Yes, if you are a sugar burner, right? Because if you burn out, you need energy, your body's telling you, feed me more, you will have to continue to eat that. Your body actually forgets how to burn that fat. You don't need as much mitochondria in your body when you're a fat burner because it's so efficient. So when you're a sugar burner, okay, we're burning, let's keep rolling. We need more energy. So if you give your body glucose every 2 hours, you don't need to burn fat, and you won't burn fat. So there's where you need to start slowly restricting your carb intake. Your brain freaks out, right? So when you skip meals, those hangry moments, you need that fuel right away. Give it to me, and what do you reach for? Whatever is quick, just carb me up. Give me a bread, give me a sandwich, something like that. So shifting to fat burn is essential to stopping that cycle. You're basically an addict, like I said. Can I eat any fats? All right, this is a good question. Do you think you can eat any fat? So this would be like can I be on the Atkins kind of thing? Where I just I eat everything but the bun, right? So no, there are good fats, right? Versus bad. Yeah. All right, so we talked about the vegetable oils. If you got them, throw them away. You shouldn't be like, oh, I'll just finish this one. Why? Kill yourself, right? You're just killing yourself. So get rid of all your vegetable oils. That increases your liver toxicity, so that's your corn, soy, canola, safflower, other things like that. Okay? Stay away from those trans fats, right? Everyone should know that. Go ahead.
What's sunflower?
What is sunflower?
Is that
Sunflower oil? Yeah.
What about olive oil?
Yep, olive oil is good. We'll get to that.
Okay.
Yep. So, stay away from trans fats. They were told to be taken out of all the. So they just put vegetable oil in instead of trans fats. So that's what they did. So, okay. Well, we won't do trans fats. We'll just do vegetable oils. Okay. There is actually one trans fat that actually is good for you, and it's actually a fat burner. CLA, conjugated linoleic acid, is actually really, really good for you. We use it. I'll use it occasionally for like a fat burning extra kick a lot of times. So what should you look for in your fats? Grass-fed, right? So local. And grass-fed meat, free range, fully grass-fed. So not just grass-fed, the last 10% we fed it corn. Why would you do the last 10%? Just feed it fully. Just let it eat hay, grass, kill the thing, let me eat it. Awesome. So that would be great. Because when you think about it, it's really not that hard to think about in terms of the circle of life. Whatever that animal eats, you're going to eat. So you feed it corn that was sprayed with herbicides, and the animal was then injected with hormones and antibiotics, because that's where 80% of our antibiotics actually go is to livestock. What do you think we're going to get? That big, fat, juicy steak that we all love, that marbling, all that fat. What do you think stored? We store it here. They're storing it there. So you eat that, cook it up. It's going to get absorbed in your meat. You're going to eat that. So whatever made that cow fat is going to make you fat. Okay? So you want fully grass-fed, free-range chicken, right? Chickens like to eat bugs and grass and things like that. They don't want to eat feed, you know. Biggest source of arsenic poisoning, chicken. Because guess what they run the feed through? What they soak the feed in, so they get rid of all the molds and toxins. They soak it in arsenic, and then they feed it to the chicken. So all that chicken feed is dosed with arsenic. So whenever the animal is going to be fed, you're going to get circle of life. You can't avoid it. You can't wash that stuff off, right? So that's not going to be any helpful. Raw dairy animal sources, right? So you can get raw cheese. I just saw some at County Market actually. Raw goat cheese, good. So yeah, as much as you can there if you tolerate dairy. There are some raw dairy sources, milk if you really want to drink milk. So yeah, there's places that you can still get that. It's just very small. Okay.
So drinking homogenized milk and all that stuff, is that good fat or not?
I would say no, because they took all the nutrients out of it when they did the pasteurization process. So yeah, you're better off eating, drinking, like if you can drink goat's milk, go that way, or just go to a nut milk. So almond and cashew milk. Yep.
Okay. All right.
But then unsweetened, right? Turn it over, look at the carbs,
Yeah.
because you can't be, drinking a whole gallon of that or a carton of it. I know. You got to get the unsweetened, full fat. So always look for full fat. So like your yogurts, right? Turn it over. You'll be shocked. There's like 1 gram of fat and 30 grams of carbs in a little thing. So go ahead.
That was one of my questions. So if you go to Costco and you buy the organic coconut milk,
Yep.
and you have all the other ingredients in it, is that going to be your ketosis?
We'll look at the carbs and the sugar, right? That's what you got to look at. Turn it over. So if I drink one of these, it's like, how many carbs do I get through the day?
And that's all you have to worry about. You don't have to worry about it.
Well, you look at the other chemicals, right? If there's a whole bunch of other things in there, you got to be careful.
They do carry, just because I shop there, they do carry an unsweetened coconut milk that you can
Yeah,
find.
that's what I get, but I don't even know the rest of the ingredients. I was just wondering
Oh.
if they would affect you.
Yeah, so you got to look it over. I don't drink coconut milk. I just drink water. Whatever. So it is what it is. Yeah. So turn it over, and then you're gonna start wanting. You're really gonna. It makes it easy as you start counting your grams of carbs. And we're not going to get into the net carbs. That's the other thing where people start talking about, well, what about net carbs? So if I eat something that's got fiber in it, do I get to subtract some of that? I say no. Just stay under the 25. It's just easier. Otherwise, you're just trying to convince yourself, if I can eat this, well, then I ate all this fiber. I had this fiber supplement, and it gave me 7 grams, so now I get an extra 7 grams to play with. Like, no. Just make it easy. But trying to buy, that's like bargaining, right? I can bargain with my own self and make it okay. So quit doing
Fiber and a salted nut roll.
Right, exactly. If I sucked out a bunch of fiber and stop myself up, I can eat something like that. Great. All right, other types of oil. So MCT oil. Anybody know what this is? Heard of it? Okay. Some people have. Yeah. So MCT oil is coconut oil but liquid. So coconut oil is made up as medium chain triglyceride, just like we have long chain triglycerides and short chain triglycerides. What they did is they took the best parts of that, the most effective for what we needed for. Is it 8 and 10? Yep. So it goes like 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. So they cut off all the ends and just gave us 8 and 10 to give us the most amount of bang for our buck. So that's basically what that is. You can cook with it. Go ahead.
So I use essential oils, and one of the carrier oils that they have you do is fractionated coconut oil. Is that basically what that is?
This is like coconut oil souped up to like supercharge. That's why. So yeah, it's concentrated way more. I think you have to eat 37 tubs of coconut oil to get like that amount in there. So.
So what if you go to Swanson and buy a cheap MCT oil? Is it going to be?
Yeah.
Is it going to be MCT oil?
So my thing on the internet, okay? When you're buying stuff on the internet, if you're buying supplements or products on there that you think might be good, it's an unregulated industry, right? So they can put whatever they want in that bottle because coconut oil really doesn't have or the MCT oil really doesn't have a taste to it too much. They could put whatever, they could put coconut water in there and do whatever. So I don't know. Always look for third-party certification. So there's GMP certification, not compliance. So GMP certification, government comes in, takes their products of that company, tests it, comes in and does four for spot checks, unannounced, grabs products, we're gonna test it, they'll give you back your report. So that's one. There's NSF, that's what the NFL uses. More having to do with sports, the National Sports Federation, so that's more having to do with sports supplements. And then there's an Australian one actually that's really, really hard to get, TGA. So that one is probably the hardest one to get. So selling stuff in Australia is very, very hard. So you have to go through their process, and if you can get that, you're pretty golden. So looking for those, the list of GMP certified companies is on npainfo.org. We use Metagenics, they're on there. They also have the most amount of research on their products. They're teamed up with the Harvard Wellness Institute and the Joplin Diabetes Institute, so they use their products. So when you're looking at products, if somebody puts out a vitamin D research, right? And then everyone's like, well, I can make a vitamin D supplement and I can just splash this research, okay? Was it the product that they used in that research to do that, okay? So there's research looking at it. So how much research does the company have? Where did it come from? There's a lot of counterfeit. Companies sell their old stuff and then they just put a re-expiration date on it, so you don't know how long it's been on the shelf. Or they don't have an expiration date at all. And people will steal supplements. I didn't know that. So there's a FDA agent, former FDA agent. He wrote a blog on all the stuff that he saw. You know, he busted these companies and go in. He's like, yeah, we found cement dust, concrete in the pill. So they were just grinding up, throwing it in, and that's what they were selling in a bottle. You can do counterfeit labels, right? Computers are amazing things. Get the label, same label, make it on your computer, sell it on the internet. So Metagenics has tried hard, very, very hard. Last year they closed down over 1,000 online stores, so that were selling counterfeit and were buying things because they don't. The other thing is when you buy stuff, you don't necessarily know how to take it or how much to take it or what it's going to do to your body and those types of things. So you're also, so that's my spiel for that. Buy from somebody who knows what the heck they're talking about, and from companies that actually have these certifications. Otherwise, just save your money. I just tell people, if you're going to go to Walmart or Target to buy your stuff because you want to save a couple bucks, save your money. Don't take it. Eat better food then. I don't care. 37 pounds of kale, 37 tubs of yogurt. Yeah, you'll get all your nutrients in there somehow. So yeah, that's my little spiel on that. It's a common question. I don't answer the question as much anymore because I don't feel like I need to answer that. If we have good products and I've researched them and they do a lot of research, and they have some of the smartest people that have worked for that company and have done a ton of research. And if you're working with Harvard and the Joplin Diabetes Center, you got to have some street cred with that. So that's what they're trying to do is more people-oriented studies, not brands. So, awesome. So where MCT oil, yes, very good. Essential for you to be with your ketogenic diet. Okay, so you will need to have MCT oil.
I'm sure you will in this one-on-one, but how much MCT oil should you be taking a day?
Yep. So we start with a teaspoon, right? Because I don't need to give you the runs, right? So teaspoon in your coffee, right in the morning, right? Work your way up to a tablespoon in your coffee. Usually it's 1 to 2 tablespoons of that. You can, if you're using it for cooking, and you can use coconut, good coconut oil for cooking as well too. You don't have to use your MCT oil. One of the tricks I've heard too is if you can bring a little bit with you if you're going out to eat. Okay, pour some on your dinner, right? So you just add more fat to that. So that'll keep you in ketosis and decrease some of that. So yeah, 1 to 2 tablespoons. If you go with the reservation, you're probably gonna have to do another tablespoon with some ketone salts to keep it powered in there. Make sense? So yeah, obviously you can overdo it and then slides right out. Kind of greases the whole pipe. So
When can you purchase the MCT oil from like the co-op stores and all that stuff?
yeah, I'm sure. If you don't know the brands, you can research them.
Right. Okay. You got some here.
Yeah, that's what that MCT oil is there. All right, omega-3s, right? EPA and DHA. When people come in, they're like, oh, I get my omega-3s, at Costco, whatever. And I'm like, okay, turn it over. It says just omega-3s, and you want to look for that EPA and DHA in that amount, right? Those two amounts, and then add them up. Oftentimes, when you start adding it up, I'm like, okay, you got to take 7 of these 2 of mine. Add it up, okay? And then I always have them bite into it. They won't do it because they're afraid, right? You shouldn't be afraid to bite into your fish oil. If you are, you shouldn't buy it. Because if you bite into it and it's rancid, you just bought rancid fish oil, right? There you go. So that's a quick test. Bite into that first bottle. If it doesn't, I mean, a little bit of fish taste, right? Because it's fish oil, right? But if you bite into it and you're like, ugh, it's gone. Get rid of it. It's gonna make you sick. Okay? Got it? So that's one quick way to test it.
What's the name of it?
Fish oil?
How much you should.
Depends on your problem. So the new maintenance dose, the maintenance dose used to be like 1,000, right? But we eat like crap. Okay, and then it was 2,000. I've always said maintenance dose for me is 3. So, because at 3,000 milligrams, you protect your brain. They actually found that if they gave kids 3,000 milligrams per day of fish oil over a year, they increased their IQ by 10%. So, I like to be smart. Hey, so I take 3,000. So,
And it's
usually
gonna be,
EPA and DHA, a combination of the two typically. Yep. So DHA is for your brain. That's your brain food. EPA is for your inflammation. So, you know, if you have an autoimmune disease, you're definitely taking fish oil. Okay, that's part of it. We have a couple other products. You know, when we talk about autoimmune disease past that we would add with that. But yeah, definitely that. Anybody comes with concussion, yep, they're on fish oil. They're on the liquid because they got to take 6,000. So you can do it different ways. You can take 4 pills, or you can take like 1 teaspoon. A lot of times I'm just like, yeah, I'm just kind of lazy. I'll take the 1 teaspoon. Just throw it back, drink it, you're good to go. So it's easy. Anybody heard of ghee? Yep. So, but it's butter without the protein. So if you have an allergy or intolerance to butter, you can use ghee. So you take that out and still got some of a lot of the good fat. It still has the fat in there, is what we're putting the most to. All right. Everyone always talks about dairy on the ketogenic diet, like the milk drinkers. You're not a child anymore. All right. And if you're tolerant, go ahead. If you're not, don't eat it. You know, you can use ghee. Coconut cream is another good alternative. Macadamia nut milk, ooh, creamy. Cocoa butter, soaked raw cashews. Raw cashews are really good. That can be used as a thickening agent as well too. All right. In the book, so anybody heard of arachidonic acid? Omega-6s, maybe arachidonic acid. So our bodies, when we eat like crap, we eat a lot of omega-6 fats. So a lot of the vegetable oils turn into omega-6 arachidonic acids. But actually, if you get it from the animal, the grass-fed, has better redeeming qualities for us. So you still need to get some of that arachidonic acid because it's needed for your autoimmune diseases, because it holds the cells together. So when your cells don't have that, they start to break apart, and there's where we get the leaky gut issues in autoimmune diseases. It's brain food, and it decreases our oxidative stress. The book, the Nourishing Fats book, also talked a lot about cod liver oil. It used to be in everybody's cupboard, right? Everybody used to take it. We got away from it because it's like fish oil. Like, I don't want to take that; it's gross. But high dose of vitamin A, D, and K2. So there's where a lot of our deficiencies are, right? Everyone thinks sun-wise, but we're decreasing a lot of that fat. So there's a big portion of that. You need to take all 3 together when you do take. So that's why cod liver oil is like perfect fat for AD and K2, because they all complement each other. So it's those people taking that 50,000 shot of pill for when they go to the doctor and they get that vitamin D deficiency. They're utilizing, so they take that whole bunch of vitamin A has to be used with that, so that we get vitamin A deficiency. So having that hard time seeing those signs at night, things like that. Your night vision isn't very good. Yeah.
Where did you say you get the arachidonic acid?
Arachidonic acid. It's from your animal fats. Yep. So liver. We don't eat liver anymore. So, and people talk. So the vitamin A thing, right, is the vitamin A toxicity. If you eat a polar bear liver, yes, you will get vitamin A toxicity. Okay, there's a lot of vitamin A in polar bear liver. Don't know a lot of people around here that eat a lot of polar bear liver. Okay, so if you eat liver, you will be fine, because I don't think people are eating liver every day, right? So if you eat liver, you'll be okay. Great source of vitamin A, vitamin D, and vitamin K, right?
what about blood sugar?
What's that? What'd you say?
Right, Tiger?
What's that?
What's that?
Oh, I haven't heard that.
Liverwurst?
Oh, liverwurst? I
Yes.
don't know. How's it cooked? And is there other stuff?
You
in
don't
it?
cook it.
Oh, just eat it?
It's nasty.
It is not nasty. He eats it in a sandwich.
Yeah. Without the bread, right? You put it in a lettuce wrap?
No.
You will now.
That's it, right,
Yeah.
right.
It's all processed though.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not organic.
Yeah, if it's not organic, it's not very good, yeah. So remember, we should be counting the chemicals that are in our food, not our calories. So if you can't pronounce something that's on there, there's a reason why you shouldn't be eating it, right? All right, how long can I stay in ketosis? That's another question. So there's some people that have been in ketosis for 3 years. The guy who actually wrote this book, Mark Sisson, has been in it for 3 years. I'm sure he's kind of kicked himself in and out a little bit during there, but he's been in it for 3 years and he hasn't died and he's actually in amazing shape. Okay? So,
Should you do your best to stay in ketosis, or
Yep.
should you ever try to just be like, okay, take a day off to
Yep, there-
maximize benefits or anything like that, or should you just always try to be in it?
yep, usually what most people will do will be 90 days, 3 months. Okay? It depends though, right? If you got an autoimmune disease, I'm probably telling you to stay on it for at least 6 months. So that'll help us clear up a lot of that autoimmune disease issues. Right? Gives us a fighting chance to get better, really. And if,
So-
go ahead.
Sorry. Why don't someone only stay on it for 3 months and then die?
Just to get that metabolic flexibility
And then go off it just like.
for a week. Yep.
And then
We go back on, yep.
Okay.
So is it good for high blood pressure and all
Yep.
that too?
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah, because when you start thinking, our body is made up of, so especially like our all of our cells are made up of a lot of fat. The cell members, what encircles the cell is fat. So if we don't feed our bodies good fats, so that's all the cells that are making up all of your tissues, all that stuff. So if you don't have enough fat, you're gonna have crappy tissue. So that means including your vessels, right? So if you have that, you have more chance of inflammation, which will cause damage to those vessels that can't be repaired because you don't give it enough fat to repair it and enough protein to repair it. There's where we get it. So the whole heart disease thing, that has more to do with inflammation than it has anything else to do with fat. That fat should just be taken out of the whole conversation when it comes to heart disease. Okay? All right?
And I heard you talk just a little bit about the gallbladder. What, if you don't have a gallbladder,
Mm-hmm.
what do you have to do differently?
We'll get that. Pull it back a little bit here. So, who should avoid the ketogenic diet? Everyone's kind of asking. People have intolerances to fats, right? So they eat a fat. One telltale sign is you eat a greasy meal and you don't feel so good, right? Okay. Another one would be your poop's floating in the toilet. Okay. That means it's full of fat. You didn't absorb it, right? So there's a good sign that you are not a good absorber of fat. They talk about breastfeeding and pregnant mothers. Really, when you think about it, breast milk is made up of mostly fat. Because you're feeding the baby's brain, their nervous system, all that stuff. Okay, so it also needs some carbs, right? From that, so you switch down. So you do more of that. This would be more than that targeted. So okay, I was in ketosis and then I got pregnant. All right, I'm going to do 70-30 or 20% carbs, stuff like that. Just give yourself a little more carbs so you can be metabolically flexible there. So and your carbs are coming from vegetables, right? It's not coming from cheesecake. Okay. And then it's complicated. There is a genetic error in fatty acid metabolism. It's like 0.1% of the population or 1% of the population. So out of all of us, probably not going to be here. Okay. So it's a test you can take to get that. So if you have a fatty acid metabolism issue, there's mitochondrial disorders, enzymes that play a role in that. Okay. So prepping for the diet. Yay! How do we actually prep for this actual diet? All right, it's a 3-week journey. Got it? So what do you have to do first over the 3 weeks? Cut out all grains. I just say cut out all fruits except blueberries. And you can't gorge yourself on blueberries. So don't take that whole little package and go, okay? So a little bit of handful every once in a while is okay. So if you're making shakes and you're filling it full of that sugar, you don't get to do that anymore. Got it? So there's no whole bunch of I'm gonna throw strawberries and berries and banana and all these things and make that fruit smoothie. Nope, we're not doing that anymore, okay? Just give yourself a sugar kick. All potatoes, right? Sweet and white potatoes. All refined sugars, all alcohols, and all refined vegetable oils, which we already talked about. There's really no reason to have vegetable oils, so.
So no more vodka?
No more vodka for the first, for at least, so remember we get 6 weeks, we get metabolically flexible, so I think we can all abstain from a little bit of alcohol for 6 weeks. All right, so you start, during that 3-week journey, you start increasing your fats, right? Because you're gonna need energy, you're gonna get hangry, right? Because you gotta, so if you're gonna switch from a sugar burner to a fat burner, you gotta supply yourself the fat, okay? There's where the MCT oil is really easy, right? We do shakes, so we have ketogenic shakes that have 14 grams of protein, something easy. Obviously, eat food. This is just for something quick on the go, or somebody, a lot of people, they don't like to eat breakfast. Take a stinking shake with some MCT on it. It's super easy. Shake it up, drink it on the way to work. Grass-fed butter, animal fats, nut butters, olive oil, avocados, and raw nuts. Those are your fats. Okay. So really, this should be really easy to follow. If you want to actually do this and sit down, we have the program guides, how to go through it, how to get into ketosis and stuff like that. Super handy, gives you what foods you can eat, what you can't, as you go through there, and then actually the amounts you should eat. Okay?
Where do you get that from?
From me.
Oh, cool beans, all right. I'll let you later.
All right, enjoy that. So you get 20% of your proteins, right? So moderate amounts of protein. So there's where that, like, MyFitnessPal really works. Okay, I had I had this amount, this many ounces of steak or protein. Then I can start counting my calories, and that's really good. So that's a good way to track it. Get good sleep, right? So as we start to do this, first couple days, there's where the ketone salts comes in. Because when you go into that sugar crash, you need those salts. There's the flu. So if you don't do the salts, you won't sleep good. You will not be happy with me, or I won't be happy with you for not listening to me. Work on your breathing is really important, because what are we mostly doing at work? Sitting. How can you breathe with your diaphragm if it's pushing up against your colon? Okay? Your colon's running right here, your diaphragm's right on there. So if you're pushing everything up into it. So there's where posture comes in, right? Breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth, belly breathers. Anybody will inquire? Yep. What they teach you, right? Right? That's how you get your big voice, right? Question? You have a question? Anybody? Okay, cool. So yeah, in through your nose, out through your mouth. There's Brugger's exercise where you open everything up at work, start to breathe deep, things like that. I've also seen where you breathe in through one nostril, exhale out the other one, breathe in through the other one, exhale. So you're actually just trying to train your body, because what happens at night is you actually, or during the day, is you actually breathe through one nostril more than the other for certain, like an hour and a half to 2 hours, and then it switches, because it's feeding brain, another brain, more action to this side of the brain, more action to this side of the brain. Actually, you're seeing the flow of that. So there you can start training yourself to breathe better. Yes. So what do I see in the clinic? Head forward posture, they sit at their desk, they breathe with their chest muscles, they look like asthmatics, they got these big muscles on the front sticking out. Okay, that's why. If you keep breathing with these muscles, they're getting stronger and stronger, and they're shutting off other muscles. Okay? So there's where that comes in. There's where you get headaches and things like that. So that was my plug for chiropractic. So mild exercise. Yeah, don't go killing it at the gym, or whatever, FXB or whatever place you're going to. You're probably going to want to slow it down just a little bit so your body gets used to it. But can you ramp it up when you get into ketosis? Yeah, because why? You have more energy. So guess what? Your workouts will be better.
So,
Nice.
so what I'm hearing you say is you don't gotta go to the gym and kill yourself and overdo it, right?
No.
So like sets of 12, you don't have to go to the gym and basically do 12 sets and then 9 and then 10 and then 8 and then 7. You know what I mean? You could just do moderate workout,
Yeah,
right?
unless you're trying to go on stage.
Unless you're trying to go on stage, right?
Yeah. So mild exercise and then stress management, right? 75 to 80% of all doctor visits, especially the walk in our door, stress related. So we have a lot of conversations about stress. All right, after 3 weeks, you're feeling pretty good. Yay! So drop your total carbs down below 50. And if you're really trying to hit the weight loss, go below 25. There are, anybody heard of fat bombs? So it's for the sugar, so the sugar cravings. So you can make these out of like coconut oil, I think, coconut butter, something like that. So yeah, you can eat those. So have them, you freeze them, pop them in your mouth. One of our staff members made these. They almost taste like cream cheese. I think they were made out of some cream, like full fat cream cheese, not the other stuff full of sugar. Super good. And then I had some kind of crust that was keto. So she's really good about doing that. Yeah, so there's whole sorts of, I mean, this book has a ton of recipes. You can go online, find different recipes. It's actually easier to cook because when you start limiting all these other carbs, like, oh, I don't have to worry about the carbs. Okay, I get some spinach leaves and a salad, and I get my meat, and I get fat in there somewhere. I'm good to go. So it's actually decomplicating the whole thing.
Can you have stevia?
Yeah, yep. So that was a good question because I did ask that. Stevia and monk fruit extract. Yep, or monk fruit are the two sweeteners. So yeah, yay, stevia. Cool thing. We'll talk about stevia. So I like to throw little tidbits in there. So you have a lot of those fat bombs. Using the MCT oil, using the salts if your energy level's starting to wane. Those salts, I took some. Yeah, good stuff. Whew. Yeah, it sets you on fire for at least an hour. You'll be, if not more. It throws you in the ketosis, start burning fat again, you're good to go. So why the MCT oil? So the MCT oil, and we have some salts. You'll get to try the products, so super good. I think the chocolate with the espresso greens is the best. It's super good. A little bit of MCT oil, it's super creamy. So your MCT oil is converted directly into those ketones. That's why it's important. Whereas coconut oil, you got all those other chains. It's harder to convert that. That's why. So if we can just give you the gas right away, way better. That goes right to the liver and used for energy. Those ketones does, because that's where it gets converted. Then it goes to your brain, and we're all happy, and we're all smarter, and we all got energy, and we all look like we got the lights on, so the lights off. We talked about it helps you stay into ketosis, especially if you 3 weeks and you start straying, pop some ketones and some MCT oil. That'll pull you back into ketosis, so that's easy. It increases so this is for like the Alzheimer's, dementia, the concussion people. There's a product in your brain or a chemical in your brain called brain-derived neurotropic factor, BDNF. Really good. It's increased by the MCT oil and the salts, and also increased by exercise. So running on the treadmill does increase it. I prefer the weight training portion of it all because that's a little bit different. So that improves actual learning and memory in people. So if we could actually bottle that stuff up and give it to people, that'd be great. Other things you should take. So we talked about the keto flu. So that's that zinc, sodium, potassium, and magnesium. So do you think you should probably take some of that when you're going into ketosis? Yeah. And how many people are deficient on magnesium? About 80%. Why? Because we don't eat, green leafy vegetables, and it's not in the ground anymore. So we've only 1950 was the last soil test, 7%. That was the last estimate. 7% of the land was fertile to grow crops on. We're pretty sure we're growing more than that. We're growing in stuff in sand around here, so we're not using anything. Turmeric, curcumin, right? Really good, anti-inflammatory, helps you with the keto diet.
I have a question. So you said zinc, potassium, and what else? And magnesium, right?
Magnesium, yep. Cool.
When should we take the turmeric?
When should
Or in
you?
the morning?
Whenever you can get it in, there is no time for turmeric. Some people take it at night, so that helps reduce inflammation over the night, but I think you should. I dose it, depending on the person, I dose it pretty high. So if somebody comes with autoimmune disease or high inflammation, things like that.
So if they say take 2 tablets, then
I take, yeah, at least I tell people to take 2 tablets twice a day minimum for that turmeric that we have. So otherwise they're drinking a shake. So that's a whole other. Get off topic. Quit getting me off topic, man. Acetyl L-carnitine. This is super important because it energizes the brain, increases your energy production from the mitochondria. It also is a fat burner. That's why. So yeah, so it burns the bad fat. So as we switch over, do people know we have 2 types of fat in our body? Right? When we're born, we're full of brown fat. That's our metabolically active. It burns all that other stuff. It helps give us energy and things like that. And then as we get older, we switch over to what? complete white stuff that holds all our toxins and all that stuff. Yeah, so that's what we do. So that brown fat starts to decrease because we don't turn it on. Some things that don't turn it on. Anybody heard of the cryo chambers? You know, jumping in, taking a really cold shower, things like that. You know, getting really cold, jumping in a cold lake, things like that. That spikes that brown fat to go up. That's one way. So exercise does it too. A few other things. So acetyl L-carnitine, really good. Alpha-lipoic acid is a great antioxidant. So it's like 1A down from what's called glutathione. That's the master antioxidant. So that's really good. We should probably take some glutathione too, because most people's livers and detoxification systems are really, really poor. Omega-3 fish oils we talked about the ketone salts. Glutamine, really good for gut lining. So if somebody's got a bad gut and we're putting them on this, we're definitely going to have them take glutamine with the shake to seal up those tight junctions. We use a product called Lipogen and Lipoplex. What these are gallbladder support. There's a gallbladder. Because if you don't have a gallbladder or have a low functioning gallbladder, I hit you with a ton of fat, you're not going to like me very much. So we got to prepare the system, right? So slowly go into it and support that gallbladder. Because like I said, a lot of people's gallbladders are not very good. Test yours, poke up under your ribs, doesn't feel very good. There you go. You probably got an inflamed gallbladder a lot of times. Touch to the side. Shouldn't be that tender. Probably got an inflamed gallbladder. Okay?
I have a question.
Please.
Why does Minnesota have problems with the gallbladder?
What's around us?
Water.
Yep. What's in the water? What?
Salt.
Salt?
Oh, fish.
How about 3M?
Oh, yeah.
How about pesticides, fertilizer, all this
Oh,
stuff?
it's chemicals.
Yeah.
More chemicals in other states?
One of them, right?
So we should all.
We should all. Right. Most we can, yep. So we want to support that gallbladder. Yes, if you don't have a gallbladder. If you don't have a gallbladder, you should be taking bile salts. I don't care who you are, you should be on bile salts because you will not digest all of your food, especially your fats. You can't digest your estrogen either, or metabolize your estrogen and get rid of it. So there's your risk for cancer, right? Especially breast cancer. Yep, they don't tell you that. What else? It increases your risk. Bile salts. So your liver makes bile, right? So we can support that system by giving you bile. So that's just like when we give you digestive enzymes. So if you have usually if you have a bad gallbladder, you have a bad pancreas too. It's not secreting enough lipase, enough pancreatic enzymes, so we help you support that. All this stuff is just to make sure that we don't kill you trying to do this diet, right? B vitamins, methylation support. Anybody heard of MTHFR? Gene mutation? Yeah. So about 40 to 50% of people have it. Varying degrees of it. There's other gene mutations too. A lot of people dirty that methylation cycle, which is needed in your liver to detoxify. It's used for a whole bunch of other systems too, but if you don't have that methylation support, good. It usually means that we're filling up on a lot of folic acid, and we need folate, not folic acid. So turn over your bottles if you're taking something and look at your B vitamins, and if you see cyanocobalamin for your B12, throw it in the garbage. If you see folic acid, throw it in the garbage. If you see maleic oxide, throw in the garbage. If you see, those are the main ones the biggest ones that you see. Yep. So yeah, if you see those things, throw in the garbage. It's worthless. Okay. So you can't cyanocobalamin for the B12. You can't convert it. It's worthless. Folic acid, if you have that MTHFR, 40% of people. Okay, you can't convert that into the active form. That can lead to folinic acid, which leads to cancer. Yay! Okay, so let's not play around with that system. Plus, if it's dirty, you still can't convert it anyways, and most people's genes are dirty because we live in an environment that's not very clean, we drink water that's not very good, and we eat food that isn't very good for us. So, there we go. The keto shakes, so we get to try those, so that's really handy. There's keto soup, we're going to try that too. I've yet to try it. I've had one patient say it was excellent.
It is.
Great. Is it?
It is.
All right, perfect.
Wanted to make sure that it was good for everybody.
Yes. With the keto shakes, to help with that oxidative stress that you put yourself under, we use dynamic fruits and greens, 20 servings of fruits and vegetables. I like it as a taste enhancer because I like I like the chocolate with the espresso. Yay, I'm a chocolate fan. Sometimes even the vanilla with the chocolate or the espresso works really good. So you can mix and match stuff. If you have blood sugar issues, usually if you're on a ketogenic diet, you do have a blood sugar issue as well. I like to use a product called insulase that helps your cells be more sensitive to insulin. Because when you are insulin resistant, you are insulin insensitive. So so much insulin, the cell's like, I don't need you, I'm good, whatever. So just go to the next cell. Insulin doesn't have anywhere else to go, okay? And metaglycemics is another good thing that I use. I have a history of type 1 diabetes. I know when I eat sugar, if I get a little sugar in me, I blow it off. So yeah, so I try to keep my hemoglobin A1C low. So there's where I try. You start noticing triggers in your own body. So, all right. You have these little packets, so lifestyle assessments, that's what we do. So what we offer our clinic is a sit-down appointment where we talk about ketogenic diet, but we talk about blood markers, we have you fill in a whole big packet where you do whole health appraisal, stress questionnaire. I'm going to add here soon some of that genetic component, so you'll have a questionnaire on that to see if maybe you have a gene mutation or a dirty gene there. We also hit toxicity questionnaires. Those are a bunch of things that you start to fill out, and then we put the pieces together, and then we talk about it. And you learn more about yourself than you probably want to know. Cool? Stuff that your doctor won't tell you. Biggest thing I hear is, but my labs are normal. Okay? So when you have a Grand Canyon for let's just take testosterone. So the typical normal value is between 220, 230 to 950. Okay? I guarantee you the guy that's sitting down at that 250 mark is not feeling like a man. Okay? Or that female who's got that low testosterone level, it's not that big of a gap, but they're not feeling good, right? They have issues, they're achy, they just don't feel good. So if their doctor says, you're fine, okay, why are you coming into me then? So there's where normal values don't mean anything. We want optimal values, right? We want to live to be 100. We don't want to live just so that we can die early. Okay? Last couple things. So why we do these seminars? Because you really grow truth and knowledge, right? So the more that we start to learn, the more we can ask questions. I work for you, so when you come to see me and ask me questions, I think that I work for you. I don't do anything else like that. When I tell patients to go to their doctors, you tell them, you work for me. If you can fire them. They're like, all firing us for some reason. I'm like, what? I pay you. Like, how do you fire me? Like, no. You fire them. If they aren't doing their job, you fire them. You tell them, you are not doing your job. Okay? Last, something that hit home with me a couple of weeks ago at church. It was a really good one. And that hits home with why you would actually want to live to be 100. So anyone remember, if they're churchgoers, the story of Jesus going by the guy and telling him to pick up his mat? He was So he asked him, would you like to get well? Okay? So that's what I'm asking you. Would you like to get well? Because most of us have some kind of issue we're dealing with or want to get better, right? So do you want to get well? We have an option for you. We can point you in the right direction. If you don't, we can at least give you some options there. So any questions?